If you're playing Delta Force Hawk Ops, then you need to know these 10 tips that I'm about to give you. These tips should help you perform better on the scoreboard, live longer, and just generally make you a better player. But if they don't help you, I'm not liable. But anyways, on to the first tip. If you find yourself using the Recon class, in particular Luna, who has the Recon Dart, a much better way to get a lot more usage of your Recon Dart is to, instead of just shooting at other random wall, thinking it's Sova or Hanzo, all you typically need to do is aim up to the sky facing towards an objective and full charge the arrow. If done right, 9 times out of 10, you'll probably end up scanning the entire enemy team, and it doesn't even have to be at a point. If you find yourself stuck behind cover and need to know where the enemies are coming from, simply look into the air and shoot a dart straight up. Again, this should get all the players in the surrounding area, so it allows you to hopefully get the jump on enemies. Another tip is that a lot of abilities and throwables do damage to tanks. Shoot a volt dart onto any type of vehicle, and you end up spotting it and get tons of XP. See a tank low HP, simply throw a nade at it. Typically, it does enough damage if it's low enough to end up destroying it, similar to other games. For the next tip, this is going to be map specific for Ascension. This is specifically if you're attacking and find yourself attacking the cave point. For whatever reason, a lot of players don't know that this flank actually exists. I discovered this while playing with my friend, and it's something that you should definitely know if you're attacking on the cave point. But what you want to do is to try to stealthily pass C1 while running along the scaffolding towards their spawn. After running for a few short meters past this resupply box, there will be a zipline that will send you up. Now hopefully most players won't be spawning at their spawn, rather they will be spawning at C1 and C2, so usually people won't be looking at you. But there will always be the odd chance that a random blueberry is there. Now I recommend having 2 recon. One recon slapping a spawn beacon down right when you get up the zipline, just in case your second respawn beacon gets destroyed. This second respawn beacon is going to be pushed all the way to the cave entrance. As you can see, we're fully behind the enemy. Now when I talk about cave entrance, I mean practically where they run into the cave system. However, do be aware, if they spawn at the default spawn for the defender's side, they may end up seeing you. A good spot is usually where my teammate is placing it, either inside of that supporting beam or just outside of it. There you have free access and free range of wherever you want to go behind them. Now another tip when it comes to the map Ascension is actually going to be on the opposite side. If you're on the defending side and you're trying to hold the cave system and you're tired of vehicles coming and running you over, a simple and easy way to deal with this is spawn at your default spawn outside where I showed you in the previous tip, and use your points and spawn in a vehicle. For whatever reason, people don't know on the defense side that you can spawn vehicles at your spawn and just simply drive it into the cave. So if you find yourself getting farmed, or you just feel like you're in a stalemate with all these vehicles shooting at you and you constantly respawning, go outside to the main spawn and just spawn in a vehicle. Now coming in for our fourth tip is going to be on the medic class. So if you use your G, which is your smoke screen, which is your throwable, not the one that you control with V. If you throw your smoke grenade and shoot it with the healing gun, it turns into a healing mist that will slowly heal you and your allies within it. This is another way if you need some cover and you need healing at the same time. Now when you pair that with the med box and the healing smoke, you end up healing insanely fast. Another tip, again for the map Ascension for the cave point, if you're on the attacking team and just spawn in a vehicle at B1 and B2, before it starts flipping to C1 and C2, drive your vehicle as fast as you can to the vehicle elevator. This is another way to get a vehicle on the defending side of the cave system. Now do keep in mind, using the elevator in this game, especially when you're trying to get a vehicle up, does take quite a while. If you go in right when the timer starts, at this time we did it at 59 seconds, you'll end up getting to the top of the cave with about 20 to 30 seconds left. So it's just another way to help you guys defend. If you're finding this video helpful so far, do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button and comment down below what your favorite tip was. The next tip is about if you or your friend want to share a loadout with each other, instead of just explaining and telling you about every single attachment, all you have to do is click on loadout. From there you would go to share loadout. Select the share loadout option and then copy share code. Now do keep in mind, if you want to use the share code, make sure you copy the entire code. The weapon name, the AR, all the numbers, and even Havoc Warfare at the end of the share code. From there you have a super easy and helpful way to share loadouts between friends. Now this next tip is going to be primarily centered around the cruise missile. Now as most of you already know or don't know, you're able to use the cruise missile if you obtain and achieve 14,000 score. You can call it in practically anywhere, and it's something that is definitely super useful. But here's some things you should probably know about it. If you're afraid of calling your cruise missile on the last point on C1 of cracked, don't be scared. All you have to do is call the cruise missile in directly in the center of C1, it'll go through the glass, and it'll still end up destroying everybody inside of the point. Then on the map Ascension, be careful where you put the cruise missile on the last point. Put it too centered, you'll end up hitting the giant tower, and well, you'll ultimately feel depressed that you got 0 kills when you used your cruise missile. Now, some other things to know about the cruise missile. One way to tell if an enemy is using a cruise missile is if you hear a loud siren. The loud siren indicates that someone on the enemy team called in a cruise missile, and you can also tell which direction it's coming from by simply looking up to the sky and well, seeing what angle it's coming from. If you're struggling to find the perfect build for a weapon, try to keep these factors in mind when you're building it. Building weapons for doing well against range and improving the accuracy helps a lot when you're trying to get into many gunfights. What I've noticed from putting a whole bunch of time into Delta Force as of recent is that most gunfights, unless you're just W-keying at the enemy, is going to be medium to long range engagements. So when you're building your next weapon, or you want to improve your weapon you're currently using, try to keep these two stats in mind. You're looking for range and you're looking for accuracy. The accuracy is going to be falling under control, stabilization, and much more. I recommend having at least all of your weapons being at the 50 stat line or higher. For the next tip, it's pretty self-explanatory and it all revolves about reviving. See, in Delta Force Haktua Ops, it's not just the medic class that has the ability to res other people. Now yes, the resing ability is mainly useful when it comes to playing the medic class, as it'll only take about 2 seconds to complete a res on a down teammate. However, if you're not playing the medic class and you see your friend crawling on the ground, begging you for help, if you can somewhere in your heart find the slightest bit of kindness, run over to your teammate and start picking him up. It takes about 4.5 seconds to complete a res on a down teammate. Some might say that the medic class isn't necessarily needed, as you can revive teammates on every single class, not only it singly being for the medic class, but the medic class also comes with some great additions as well. You get the smokes, you get the smoke grenade healing ability, you get the healing pistol that has lock-on aimbot, and you either have the choice between a medic bag and an ammo bag. But again, even if you're not playing the medic class, if you see a teammate and you feel that it's safe, just go over and res him. It helps him and you might have found a lifelong friend. Now for the last tip, besides hitting that subscribe button, but this tip is all surrounded by how exactly the respawn system works. So the respawn system in this game is a little finicky and you can easily make it work in your favor. So for whatever reason on the redeploy screen, if you try to actively spawn on someone that's in combat, you can't. However, if you manage to spawn on your teammate at the right time, no matter if you start getting into combat or anything like that, you'll still end up spawning on them. All it has to do is initially start loading, and well, it doesn't even matter if your squad mate dies. You will still end up spawning even if your teammate is dead on the ground. But hopefully these tips taught you a little bit more about Delta Force Hot Ops, and if you're new here, subscribe, as I plan to make a lot more content surrounding this game, and why not, it's free.